So it's 3 years I'm in the band, or maybe more, and I do dread every time a new set list comes, usually by email, that Alien Boy is going to be on it. And thank God I've dodged this bullet. I get a phone call. It's Ian. I'd like to have a go at Alien Boy. Are you comfortable with it? And I'm like, I'm supposed to say yes, even though I'm shuddering. I, of course, say yes. And he says, look, if you don't want to do it, we can just edit the arrangement, or we can shorten it. So I don't know what I was thinking, but I almost yelled at him. I definitely barked. I said, no. I said, if you're going to do it, I want to have a chance. You know, let's let the arrangement stand. Let me come up and do it. If it sucks, we can talk about editing it out then. Great. It's in the list.
Now, when you did it, I think he lowered it to C, because it was in C sharp on the record.
We play, I don't know if I'm giving away trade secrets. I think he's talked about this publicly. So we are tuned down
okay, so
a half step.
Okay.
So everything is down a half step. So we're actually playing it in C sharp position, but we're down a half step. Okay? So yeah, right. C sharp. It is in C sharp, and we're down a half step. So yes, it sounds like C to you.
Okay.
Right. So, so now I've agreed to do this, and not only have I agreed to do it, but I've sort of demanded that I get my 32 bars or however long it is of solo. So I start the process of what I would do to learn a song, which is I sit down and I kind of count the bars and listen to the changes, and then I'll pick up an instrument, not always a bass. Sometimes I'll pick up a guitar and just get the structure. And I quickly realize it's a very simple song. It's a minor blues and 3 chords, but now I'm getting reintroduced after all these years to this crazy trombone solo. And I start freaking out. I'm like, there's no way I can do this. Who do I think I am? And this is not who I am. And but let me try. I've developed these tools. So the more I did it, I started learning it. And I started transcribing it, not writing it, but in my head, in my hands transcribing it. And the closer I got to it, the less musical it became. Yeah. And it just really isn't my thing. And I did start really sort of freaking out and regretting. I was like, this is not a good thing. I started thinking about the Jaco fans laughing at me, going, who does this guy think he is? And there's no way if I try to do it note for note, there's gonna be that one guy that actually can do it going, you missed the pink on the way to the right? And then there's the Ian Hunter fans that are we wanna hear this song the way that they heard it and go, well, the bass solo's not there. Or what the hell is that guy doing up there ruining this thing? So I had a little anxiety about it, and the more I played along with it with Jaco in my ears, it's funny, the closer I got to it, the worse it seemed to me. Like I actually was getting pretty close. There's a couple passages, forget about it. I mean, are physically impossible for me to do. There's one descending F sharp business that I'll never do. Kenny Aronson sang it to me one night and it made me mad. You do it then. But so what I decided to do is I got myself into this. I took an acoustic guitar and a piece of cassette tape, remember that? Yeah. And I recorded with acoustic guitar the solo section from the turnaround that opens up to, and I said, let me just get Jaco out of my ears. It's a solo, right? Solo is solo. Mm-hmm. If I'm learning it, it's a part. Let me approach it as a solo. Let's see what I would do. And that's what Ian was, all he wanted me to do anyways. He's like, forget about it, just do your own thing, just do your own thing. So I put it on, played the acoustic guitar, and then I put the thing on, and it's C sharp. And I go, oh my God, it's Born Under a Bad Sign. And I go, isn't that funny, Jaco? So I started referencing Born Under a Bad Sign, and then I started kind of hinting, believe me, hinting, I could never even get in the ballpark, but hinting at his phrasing, trying to emulate his tone. And I think that I've referenced enough of it to sort of be respectful to him, but I'm a garage band self-taught guy. I'm not Jaco, and I ultimately decided that if I went out there and did it, I was going to be tripping over my dick every night, making an ass of myself, and I would never be comfortable. So I went with, it's a solo, I'm going to do my own thing, and I'll take the medicine. If the Jaco fans have a problem with it, if the Ian Hunter fans have a problem with it, nobody seems to have a problem with it. At least they haven't told me. Maybe they're all joking around on some secret website that I can't access. And he did it again. But I have a lot of fun with it. The guys, I reference Bad Sign. I reference Boots Are Made For. I start off doing some crazy stuff usually. Steve is the most giving drummer. He puts a groove down, and I dig in and I play my heart out. And like I said, I try to reference some of the melodic signposts, and I try to get in the ballpark feel-wise and sound-wise, and I hope that his fans, they have to suffer through it,
What do you remember the first time you guys did it live? How did that go over?
Well, I'll remember the very first time at the rehearsal, because that whole anxiety attack went, we usually get a set list about 2 or 3 weeks before the first rehearsal for a tour. So for about 3 weeks, I'm totally freaked out about this, and I'm not sleeping, and I'm getting up in the middle of the night playing along to this cassette tape, and my wife is like, what the hell is going on with you? More than normal, So we go up to rehearse, and I get in there, and sure enough, not only are we doing Alien Boy, and I've agreed to do the solo, he wants to open the show with it.
That's right. Yeah.
So we start. There was the first. It's tucked a little farther in now in the set, and it's stayed in the set now for a few years. But we opened that tour with it, and so it was the first song we rehearsed. So I get out of the car and I set up my gear, and the first thing I got to do before there's even a chorus is play this solo, right? There's a verse, and so we all set up in a circle up there at Ian's, and Steve counts it off, and we do it, and I just did what I was going to do. I had my luggage full of ideas that I was going to do on this C# minor business, and the song went by, and I did it, and nobody really looked up. It's the first day of rehearsal. Everybody's learning their thing. The song ends. Ian turns to the keyboard guy and says, the clavinet thing, it should, thing. And he turns to Steve, who's the best harmony singer ever. And, maybe we should talk about, and he kind of went, I swear to God, it was like he talked to everybody in the band about something. Nobody said anything to me. It was like this, like the silence was deafening. And I'm like sitting there. I'd just done this solo. I just stayed up for 3 weeks trying to figure out what I was going to do, and half of it practicing what I was going to do, and then I did it, and not a peep. And not that I really am not like that. I don't really need a lot of patting on the back and stuff, but now I'm looking around, now I'm kind of pissed. Because, he's talking to him about the vocals, and he's talking to him about the clavinet part, and when's the guitar, you're going to do this guitar solo, and you're going to do that guitar. Nobody said anything. And finally, I just sort of looked at Ian, and then I looked over at Steve. Steve just starts laughing, because he knows me good enough that he knew Steve's laughing, and Hunter's like, what? I'm like, is it all right? He goes, it's great. And he called the next song, and we moved on. And there was really no discussion about it. There's been no looking back, really. And it's just become part of the show. And like I said to the Jaco fans, I apologize. It's not Jaco Pastorius' solo. It's me goofing around on a C# minor.